Jim, the folks at the St. Louis Convention and Visitors Bureau came out with a familiar refrain recently. They say the city is not competitive in the convention business. We've got to spend more money, and we saw this in the in the 80s, early 90s when the convention center was expanded, and we built the Dome, and then we built a convention hotel, and each of those was expensive and subsidized with taxpayer money, and we're still losing ground in the convention business. So now we've got to expand the convention center to the west, build a bigger ballroom, add more exhibit space.
Well, their argument is that other cities, Indianapolis, Nashville, are expanding their convention centers and attracting them.
It's an arms race.
It's an arms race. So because Indianapolis and Nashville are doing stupid, does that mean we have to do more stupid? I mean, why are we competing in this? Well, what we have here is the taxpayers subsidizing a certain industry, the restaurant and hotel industry, with taxpayer money. This drives me nuts.
Well, true, but most of the tax revenue is from the tax on hotels and motels. So you could say that it's the industry subsidizing itself using the tax mechanism.
The city and county are paying combined $12 million a year to pay off the bonds on the old convention center expansion. Right. Those bonds are going to be paid off in about 4 years. So the idea now is that rather than getting that $12 million to fix our roads or make our parks nicer, they'll put it into another expansion.
They'll refinance the bonds for another 40 years, and that'll pay the $175 million cost of this expansion. But there's a case to be made that we do have this public asset, the convention center. We got this important industry, the hotel industry, that depends on visitors, and we need to invest in it. Actually, I wrote a piece a while ago that this is part of the cost of our pursuit of football. When we were going after the NFL in the 90s.
And how did that work out?
We built the convention center in such a way that it was not optimal for conventions. It was not optimal for football, but we got a football team out of it, and now the football team's gone, and we're left with a convention center that's not optimal for conventions, and it's showing its age. It's showing the flaws that were built into it decades ago, such as having a kitchen in the basement, and they got to take all the food up and across the whole thing, and it's for a meal function like at a convention.
Well, that's okay. What we're saying, we're not competitive anymore for the giant conventions, but we're still competitive for the mid-sized conventions. Why don't we just give them a cheaper price and bring them in that way instead of spending there
are fewer of those conventions going around, and the big ones, we were competitive fairly recently for like First Robotics, the big student competition. There was a big O'Reilly Auto Parts convention that was here every year. They've left because they outgrew us basically, and we haven't replaced them. The business at those downtown hotels that depend on it has gone down. It's a regional asset.
It's a regional asset at its size. What drives me nuts, the ultimate point I want to make here, is here we have businesses complaining my taxes are too high all the time, but they're always walking around with their hands out asking for subsidies, asking for some of that money back. And we give it to them. We give it to some businesses. We give it to the hotel business. We give it to retailers so they can build these.
Almost every city is in that race, and the arms race isn't going to end anytime soon.